Every business guru tells you that success is about who you know, not what you know. They push you to attend networking events, collect business cards, and schmooze your way to the top. But here's what they won't tell you. Networking events are where desperate people gather to impress other desperate people. Real power brokers don't network. They work. They don't collect contacts. They create value. They don't glad hand at conferences. They solve problems in boardrooms while you're wasting your evenings at networking mixers, making small talk with people who can't help you. The truly successful are home studying, practicing, and building skills that will make people want to network with them. Stop trying to know the right people and start becoming the right person. There's a tree in China called the Chinese bamboo tree that will change how you think about success forever. When you plant this tree, something extraordinary happens. For the first year, nothing. You water it, you fertilize it, you tend to it with care, but you see absolutely nothing above ground. Second year, still nothing. Third year, you begin to wonder if you're wasting your time. But then, in the fifth year, something miraculous occurs. That bamboo tree shoots up 90 feet in just 6 weeks. 90 feet in 6 weeks. Now, most people would look at that and say the tree grew 90 feet in 6 weeks. But that's not what happened. That tree was growing for 5 years. It was building its root system, developing its foundation, preparing itself for the moment when it would explode into the sky. The growth was happening, but it was happening quietly, underground, where no one could see it. Your life works the same way. Let me tell you about a young man named Marcus, 3 years ago. Marcus was working at a small electronics store, making barely enough to pay his rent. Every night, while his friends were out partying, while his neighbors were watching television, while the world was sleeping, Marcus was in his tiny apartment learning. He was studying online marketing, practicing web design, building small projects that nobody knew about. His girlfriend left him because she said he was boring. His friends stopped calling because he was never available for their Friday night adventures. But Marcus understood something that most people never figure out. He understood that the person you become in private is the person you'll be in public. He understood that success isn't an event, it's a process. And most importantly, he understood that the most powerful transformations happen in silence. Today, Marcus owns a digital marketing agency with 12 employees. He makes more money in a month than he used to make in a year. But here's what's beautiful about his story. Nobody saw him coming. One day he was just another guy working retail. And the next day he was running a successful business. But that transformation didn't happen overnight. It happened over hundreds of quiet nights when nobody was watching. This is the power of building yourself quietly. We live in a world that worships noise. We celebrate the loud, the flashy, the obvious. Social media has convinced us that if it's not posted, it doesn't count. If it's not shared, it's not valuable. If it's not seen, it's not real. But I want to tell you something that might shock you. The most successful people in the world built their empires in silence. They didn't announce their plans to everyone who would listen. They didn't post their progress on every platform available. They didn't seek applause for their daily efforts. They simply put their heads down and did the work. They understood that loud success attracts attention, but quiet preparation attracts results. When you build yourself quietly, you eliminate the pressure of public expectation. You remove the need to explain yourself to people who wouldn't understand your vision anyway. You free yourself from the opinions of those who have never walked the path you're walking. You create space for genuine growth, authentic development, and real transformation. But there's something else that happens when you build in silence. You discover who you really are. When there's no audience to perform for, when there's no crowd to impress, when there's no social media to update, you're left with just you and your potential. That's where the magic happens. That's where the real work gets done. I've watched thousands of people over the years, and I can tell you this with absolute certainty. The ones who make the most noise about their plans are usually the ones who accomplish the least. The ones who talk endlessly about what they're going to do are typically the ones who never do it. But the ones who disappear for months and then reappear transformed, those are the ones who understand the principle of quiet building. Think about the most successful person you know personally. Not someone you've seen on television or read about in magazines, but someone you actually know. Now think about their journey. I guarantee you that the most significant period of their growth happened away from the spotlight, away from the crowd, away from the noise. It happened in the quiet moments, in the early mornings, in the late nights, in the solitude, where real transformation takes place. This is not about becoming antisocial or isolating yourself from the world. This is about understanding that your most valuable hours are your private hours. This is about recognizing that the foundation of your future is built when nobody's watching. This is about appreciating the power of silent, consistent, daily actions that compound over time into extraordinary results. The bamboo tree doesn't apologize for its 4 years of invisible growth. It doesn't explain itself to the other plants in the garden. It doesn't seek validation for its underground development. It simply grows quietly and steadily until it's ready to show the world what it has become. You have that same potential inside you right now. You have the ability to transform yourself so completely that people won't recognize the person you become. But it won't happen in the spotlight. It won't happen on social media. It won't happen in the noise and chaos of public life. It will happen in the quiet moments when you choose growth over comfort, discipline over distraction, preparation over procrastination. It will happen when you understand that the most powerful thing you can do is build yourself quietly, consistently, and purposefully, until you're ready to rise like that bamboo tree and show the world what you've become. Now, you might be wondering how exactly you begin this process of quiet transformation. How do you build that underground root system that will eventually support your 90-foot rise? Let me share with you a story that will illuminate the path forward. In a small village in Italy, there lived a master craftsman named Giuseppe. While other artisans in the town worked in the public square, showing off their skills to passers-by, Giuseppe worked alone in his small workshop behind his house. Every morning before dawn, you could hear the gentle tap, tap, tap of his hammer, the soft scraping of his tools against wood. The other craftsmen mocked him. They said he was antisocial, that he was afraid of competition, that he lacked confidence in his abilities. But Giuseppe understood something they didn't. He knew that mastery is not a performance, it's a practice. He knew that excellence is not born from the desire to impress others, but from the commitment to perfect your craft when no one is looking, day after day, month after month, year after year. Giuseppe worked in his quiet workshop, refining his techniques, improving his skills, creating pieces that grew more beautiful with each attempt. Then one day, a wealthy merchant from Rome came to the village looking for the finest craftsmen to create furniture for his palace. He examined the work of all the public artisans in the square. Beautiful pieces, but nothing extraordinary. Then someone mentioned Giuseppe, the quiet craftsman who worked behind his house. When the merchant saw Giuseppe's work, he was speechless. The craftsmanship was unlike anything he had ever seen. Giuseppe got the commission. And word spread throughout Italy about the master craftsman who had been hiding in plain sight. This story teaches us something profound about the nature of true development. Giuseppe didn't become a master craftsman overnight. He became one through 7 distinct but interconnected practices that he developed over years of quiet dedication. These same practices, when applied to your life, will transform you from the inside out. The first pathway involves how you begin each day. Giuseppe rose before dawn not because he had to, but because he understood that the early hours hold a special power. When the world is still sleeping, when there are no distractions, no demands, no interruptions, that's when you can do your deepest work on yourself. This isn't about becoming a